It's July 7th. I'm tired of everything. Trying to understand myself and my purpose and how to go about this where I'm in life and how to move forward is just a lot. But I guess I need to record. I don't know. Fuck, it's so complicated being human. Angels envy us for our ability to have free will and emotions. And, so many of us, especially the ones stuck in the matrix, it's, we live according to their envy. Just program me and just tell me what to do. Bypass all this feeling bullshit. I made, a statement, something in terms of, resurrecting my life. And that kind of struck a chord today when I was processing some shit. And maybe that's what I need to record here. But born again, I think, is what you hear a lot in churches, and you whatever that is supposed to mean. But essentially, it's the spiritual reconnection to God. But it's acknowledging a birth that you already experienced but forgot, and so you're born again. So I don't know if that really applies, but resurrecting what seems dead inside you, or so buried that was never even visible, but now you're coming to terms with, to me is a more apt kind of approach, from my perspective or consideration, especially when I forcibly try to drown myself, my spiritual self, being, I guess, what I would call awake all my life to some degree, but now coming to terms with a possible higher calling, or something way outside my human pay grade, I guess, as it were. That to me is a type of resurrection that you're given birth to a new type of life, I guess, but allegedly a type of life that you've had before you came to earth and before you forgot now or remembering it. I mean, that's the story we're telling ourselves, and that's the story I keep hearing other people's, how they're explaining their shit. The weird part for me is when I first kind of started processing this, like, the perspective I had, and it was in the vacuum of my own mind, was, it started with that deeper question of what if you had a choice of being here, and it was in the sense of not leaving, but just maintaining that, okay, I have an option to exit, Earth at will, but what if I made the choice to be here from that moment on? What would I do? What direction, the ideal, the fantasy dream sort of life that I would live. And I imagined the results of it, even the process of how to get from here to there, and it's vastly different from where I am now. Like, I can't even know how to get started to fucking get there at this point. But it quickly got a little deeper in sense in terms of, well, even from the beginning, because if free will exists, right, free will, you can't have been forced into human meat avatar and then exercise free will. I mean, to some degree you can. That's maybe why we're forgotten, if we were in some sort of other existence before we came over here. But like, there's a scripture that maybe somebody could help me understand a little bit more correctly, but when God says that I knew you before you were born, before you even got into your mom's womb, before you came to be a human, that knowing sounds like there's a completion in it. Like there was an entire entity that was sociable and complete, that God knew before this whole experience happened. So in that sense, it's like, okay, you were a spirit, God knew you, you guys talked it over, and he said, yeah, this space and time, like this would be perfect for you. Like, I don't know, like it was a crapshoot to have the parents that I had, or is it specifically designed, or is it just revolved around the experiences, or whatever, limiting factors, or not limiting factors, but guiding factors, you collaborated with God to be like, oh yeah, put me in here, I want to experience that, and I think I have what it takes, and then boom, you forget everything, and then you're born, and then you have to fucking remember, and the connections and all that bullshit. So it's hard to say, but even from just my perspective of like cursing my life to death and all elements of it, and to having to restart it, to resurrect it from nothingness in terms of potential or drive and direction and purpose, and to live out my human life with some sort of powerful cause, to have some kind of effect, to have proof, that some agent worked on me to cause and or create effect. How do you revive that? And aligning myself, the physical element of becoming healthy, giving up whatever fucking drugs that our human bodies gravitate towards as medicine to alleviate or perceived suffering, detaching from that, and like caffeine and sugar that become habits that detract from real focus, is one part. But really aligning with God and having the sort of direct line of connection to God, to hear him, to in real time be able to hear the Holy Spirit to guide you when you're fucking just like camped out in the valley of the shadow of death. Like you're accustomed to it, like that's your life. Like you don't want to fucking move because something's gonna collapse, or you're gonna hurt someone, or it's inevitable that you take a step in any direction, you're gonna fuck up something. That's what it feels like. So you don't move because at the end of the day, me being stationary in my little dark camping spot, it kind of ensures that I'm the only one that suffers by not gaining anything and just quietly dying, even if it takes another 20, 30, 40 years. But maybe that's not the case. Maybe that other people are suffering because I'm not moving. And I see that, and it gives me all the more reason to hate and stay put, because even though I see it, like I always have seen it, it just, I feel powerless against it, because out of my own volition, it doesn't seem like I have what it takes to be able to do anything about that suffering, because I tried, for so many years. Fuck, so much energy put into losing everything. It's fucking disgusting. Why the fuck would I want to even attempt trying anything? So how the fuck do you resurrect? And then the reality sort of hit me today. Another one of those fucking stupid fucking YouTube videos. Forgiveness. you know, and no matter what and how many times I forgave and keep forgetting, I'm the one that has to fucking forgive everyone, even though I feel like everybody done me wrong, and like I'm like, well, okay, what wrong did I did, you know, to you? Like, fuck, you know, what? Forgive me for what? Like, I don't understand. But then in the process, it's one of the things that really hit me. It's like I have, you know, forgiving myself for putting myself through shit, you know. I embraced red flags. I went towards them to study them close up. Like I was the fucking idiot who, you know, grabbed the handle in the fire to see if I could pull it out while it's still burning me. You know, like there's this thing I used to do on my wedding picture. There's a bunch of scars on my hand where I used to take cigarettes and put them out on my hand, and it hurt like a motherfucker. Most of the time I was a little bit tipsy, but it's the idea of the one body, you know, your right side hurting your left side, and your left side being stationary or not flinching for the experiment of the willpower that it takes for your right hand to deliberately hurt your left hand just to see if you could control both of them in carrying out their individual and separate tasks in one body. You know, that's the kind of fucking shit that I used to embrace, you know. That's how I learned. That I learned by taking shit apart, and you know, people called me like, oh, why am I always ruining shit? Like, I wasn't really ruining it, I just really needed to know how it fucking works, and in order to do that, take it all the way apart and then study it, and then, you know, try to put it back together. But then my ADD fucking goes in a different direction, and the fact is that once I took it apart, I could solve the problem of putting it back together. So it's boring for me to actually go through the steps and putting it back together, because my mind already knows, like, look, you already fucking did it in your mind. It's gonna be the same thing once you do it in real life, so fuck it, don't put it back together. But then you don't have that toy to play with, but then you just fucking use it for other parts and make other shit out of it and play with other things anyway, so it doesn't matter. But still, you're labeled as somebody who just ruins shit. But the forgiveness part, where it comes to me to forgive myself for doing those things, like, I can't, because like the reality is, if I forgive myself, then do I not negate those which things that I've learned from, you know, or do I just forgive myself of holding on to perspectives that maybe people didn't have of me, or wasn't justified for them to have of me, like, you know, somebody who just constantly ruins shit, never, you know, them never realizing, like, yeah, but I'm always learning from it, like, give me some credit. And then forgiveness of God, from God, like, I have this perceived hurt, you know, I don't know, probably from upbringing and family, and my dad being a pastor, and this hell brimstone fire fucking, it was more important for him to avoid sin than to seek closeness with God, you know what I mean? Like, that's just horrible. Like, who, like, you know, like, you're constantly so focused on avoiding sin that you don't even look up to see what God wants you to do and which way to step. So now I'm in this, like, massive mess of wanting to move forward, but have no fucking clue on how to hear from God to which step to take, because I am in the fucking valley of the shadow of death, and it's fucking dark and hopeless, and there's nobody to feed hope into me, and the people around me are fucking, I don't even know who's more insane, them or me, for still being here. Like, it's nightmarish, and yet I can't be here to heal and forgive properly because every element of dislocation and place is a fucking trigger, and yet I'm making myself more comfortable because I have no place to go, or it feels like. And I don't know how to trust and step and move, even though I have all this cognitive and intellectual knowledge about my disposition. I don't have practical faith application to fucking rely on faith. And then now on top of it, I have to forgive. And I want to forgive because ultimately there's got to be something better. But I keep not wanting to be drawn into these over... I don't even know. I don't know. To be honest, I don't fucking know. I don't fucking know. God, please help me. Oh, please help my faithlessness, Lord. Keep missing sort of divine opportunities and appointments, and that's a real life experience. Like, I can't more numbered in a hand, two hand times have I missed like literally $1 million opportunities because I couldn't get out of this worthlessness, faithlessness mode, and didn't step because I felt the resonance on me, knowing that, look, if I step into this, it's gonna fall apart because I'm not ready to hold it together, or because I'm not ready, they'll smell it on me and it won't pass the next few levels before it becomes successful, and other things that I pushed fucking massively to try to have succeed, and no matter how hard I push, it didn't succeed. So it's like a maddening effect. But back to this resurrection and forgiveness, and this I worked out, again, years before, when I wanted to start this, to approach this on a cognitive level, that it's the, forgiveness is like forgiving a debt, like whatever perceived debt that they owe you in time or neglect or expectations that person, namely always fathers come up for us, or business or anybody else, that real hurt that it generated because they weren't there, you have to let it go. Like, you don't expect that they will ever hold that space for you, or have that time for you, or have that understanding for you that you needed then. And it is impossible, but even just to reconcile, like, have something like an apology from them to be like, okay, cool, you're sorry, that makes it a little bit better. I'm still missing that shit that you didn't, give me, but now I understand, and now I'm doing the same with my sons, only it's on their end. They're not looking for me, so I can't give, versus when I went and begged and looked, they didn't give, and that's what I don't understand. And it's still up to me. And so when it comes up as something that it bothers me inside, that I don't have this or that, or I'm still blaming, or have some grudges or hostility or negativity towards a person or a sequence of events or space and time, or even God, or myself, especially for putting myself through things that most normal people would not have. Like, they wouldn't have made those choices. They would have been just smarter to fucking stay away from the fire to begin with because they've been told. But no, somebody has to be fucking extra and do stupid shit. And then you go through a lot of hurt that ultimately feels like it ruined my life. But then we were going back to the first argument as well. It's not ruining my life if I learned from it, because it was really me deconstructing or just taking apart shit that otherwise would have been perfect under normal conditions. Like even my last fiance, for instance. Like, fuck, that would have been just like, dude, I had like fucking on-demand blowjobs in that relationship, like, and I fucking flat out walked away because of just that one little fucking stubborn thing that she didn't respect me. But you know what? From day one, I said, that's something I need, period. So how long can you hold out to get that one thing that the whole relationship, you know, pivots around, at least from my part? So you walk away. You just fucking leave everything and walk the fuck away. And it hurts a lot. And then that's, you know, my kids blame me for that. I blame me for that. It is my fault. It is a thing I did. I was warned not to even go into it by my own inner spirit. Didn't know how to listen to it or refused to listen to it. So all around, it's like all the fuck ups that I'm experiencing are my doing. And so if it's a fault, you know, this is the end result. But on the other hand, again, how else would I have learned some of the deepest shit in life that most people don't even know exists, let alone, you know, fuck around with, and now have to make something like a comeback. And that hit me today. Like, yeah, in my mind, I could all day clean the ledger, saying, no, you don't owe me, no, you don't owe me. But those elements are still missing. The love and the care and the caution that I didn't exercise over my life, for my life as it was developing in my earlier years. All that, you know, is what brought me to this point, and my relationship or perspective of God, or how I relate to him. Like, even in my head, feeling like God is against me, like all the time, like he wants to kill me, is a fucking heavy duty thing. Like, you can't even try to do shit when you already know that your creator's like, just, you know, wants to fucking ixnay you. But then on the other hand, he really doesn't, because I lived through some fucking pretty cool shit that, you know, I could have died, you know, more than one time and done just stupid shit. And I'm here. Oh. Anyway, forgiveness is like, so, you know, you make a U-turn and you want to do this quantum shift and fucking do a U-turn and then light speed ahead, but you got anchors in the ground. You got anchors fucking, you know, in every direction, in a few ideologies, you know, fucking issues against God and Father and kids and maybe some other people, or myself especially, and you know, you can't fucking turbo launch and expect anything else than a crash, I guess, if you think about it, unless, you know, you kind of sever those anchors, you know, in like a channel or like a conduit. If I'm not clean on the inside because I got all this residue stuck to my walls of shit that just really emotionally irks me every time I see something or think of someone or remember some betrayal that I fucking pulled on myself, or or perceived betrayal that you know, the dogma of God pulled on me, but it wasn't God, except misunderstanding presented by other people that I don't fucking see, and all this other subconscious bullshit that, you know, kind of works its way to the surface when you start thinking about shit. You know, if those are all still there, then like whatever God is trying to channel through me, you know, it gets mucked up or dirty, or it gets all sliced up because the walls of my conduit are all filthy with all this fucking regrettable, you know, bullshit from my past, which doesn't need to be there. It doesn't serve any good, other than maybe a lesson like, don't do that again. But to make peace with it, to forgive it, to not need it anymore, so that I could actually calm my mind enough to know that I hear God, and to trust myself that what I do here is from God, and not be afraid to take a step even though it might, you know, injure somebody's emotions, but ultimately it's kind of good for everybody. That's the difficult part. That's the part that, you know, keeps me frozen in my place. And I've been you know, dealing with this part of it unresolved, you know, a lot. And now this loop around 3.5 years later, it's resurfacing the same shit that I thought about, you know, 3 years ago, that I need to address, and how and the reasons for it. But now it's being presented to me from outside sources, like fucking the people I hear on YouTube. Fuck. But ultimately, there's some practice involved. There's some habits and things that I definitely am in control over, like putting God first in the morning, not scrolling, and not other things, not getting right up and doing busy shit, or avoiding shit by doing comfortable shit. You know, those are in my hand, but some things, like God being able to kind of short circuit my memories so that they don't play an effect in, you know, my PTSD, my spiritual PTSD of fucking shit that I just think about, and automatically, you know, shit goes haywire just from the thought of my spiritual experiences, you know, and then not being able to once again get a clear, trustworthy download on what the fuck my next step is. Because if once you understand my situation and how sort of dire it is in the direction that I'm trying to go in, it's fucking night and day. It's like, there's no fucking possible way that you're gonna launch a rocket, you know, designed by fucking arts and crafts students in elementary schools, public schools, no funding, no fucking material, no fucking way to put a life together. Like, I don't know. But I do have even this wallet thing that happened to me a few weeks ago, on these little nudges from my inside to follow certain things, and I fucking followed it for like an hour, and I got my wallet back. Like, it was fucking kind of amazing. But I'll talk about that later. But there is something they're trying to connect with me, but my inability to recognize it properly, or being so fucking sort of spiritually abused, you know, throughout my life, turn, you know, people in power over me, like fathers and pastors and counselors and shit like that, turning spirituality against me, in them not even necessarily knowing that they're doing it, in a way that it it caused like spiritual dissonance, I guess. Like it's like cognitive dissonance, but in the spirit world, like shit just doesn't make sense. You fucking don't know how to trust yourself, but the shit was coming through clear to me now that I kind of dissected in retrospect. But I was fucking programmed not to trust my own shit. Like that's fucking abuse. Like that fucking sucks. Like that's fucking bullshit. You know, and now I have to like, I don't know, figure that shit out for myself, and I had it already figured out like decades ago, and I wouldn't have fucking gotten into this mess had I, you know, was just left on my own, really, instead of just like left on my own, but at the same time fucking, you know, manipulated not to trust myself. Like what the fuck is that shit about? Anyway, so it's 7/7. I heard something about forgiveness today, and it really hit me. And then I was prompted to just fucking record. So this is what you get, whatever that means. But you know, God just knows I'm honest about trying to fucking step into something that I am now not. Or maybe I have always been, and I'm trying to step out of something I should have never been. You know, I can't make fucking sense of this shit. But it's limbo like no other. Like I can't go back into my past and, you know, even just going through some of my mail. Fuck. Company I had, construction. I don't even want to talk about it. They want fucking money. It's up to like $13,000 for like not filing like 1 year for like $2,000 worth. Like it's fucking insane. Like how much it costs me when I don't get it like 100% right. You know, and that's what I keep seeing, and that's what I don't understand, and that's what I fucking, you know, feels like when I'm in this transition where I got it, you know, like 95% right before, and cost me twice as much as I put into it. Then, you know, how much it's gonna cost me if I don't get this 100% right. Anyway, what can you expect from Monday?